What's going on, y'all? It's back, and I want to tell you about how perfect that I am. I mean, you probably already know, right? I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, but it's just I feel compelled to tell you of my perfection. Not perfectionism that I have to do everything in the right, which I mean it already does, because because I am so perfect. Now, no, that's I have plenty of faults. If you don't believe me, you can ask my wife, and she'll let you know. I'm kidding. She's wonderful, wonderful person who always lifts me up. So she might not tell you any faults that I have, but yeah, no, I am imperfect. I have not yet reached perfection. But I want to tell you one thing. One thing. I was thinking about all this stuff that the culture says about me because I'm white and because I'm a man, because I am heterosexual, and because I'm cisgendered. What they say about me is that I'm racist, that I'm bigoted, misogynist, definitely, and all these things, right? But I was trying to really think. I was like, some of this it just doesn't really sound like me. I mean, I'm there doing ministry with my fellow pastors who one has brown skin and the other has black skin. And I'm just like, man, that doesn't really seem racist to me. And I've never looked down on anybody because of their skin color. That's stupid. I even dated a girl one time who, I mean, she was part Spanish and part Lebanese and part, I mean, there's lots of things going on there. But the point is, I don't. I never have. That's not the way I've been raised. Society would say, it doesn't matter, Jeff. You are white, therefore you are racist and evil. And so I just came to the conclusion. You know what makes more sense to me? I must not be white. I mean, I don't fit in to these things that they're telling me I am. So if that's all white people, then I must not be white. I mean, problem solved, right? Now I know what you're thinking, Jeff, that doesn't make sense. You are definitely white. And I want to show you an example, okay? This right here, this is white, okay? See, you see my skin color to this? Okay, even the white parts of my body that don't see a lot of sun, they're not this color, okay? Maybe a little closer, but they're not that color. Where did this idea of race even come from? Man, as far as I can tell, we start back to this communist stuff and Communist Manifesto, Karl Marx, and he's talking about race and dividing people. To conquer people, you need to divide. It is a solid plan from long time ago, ever since the world. Divide and conquer. So how do we divide? We're going to divide by race. Why? Because it's super easy to tell. Hey, that person doesn't look like me. Oh, okay. What if they think like you? I don't know if they think like me or not, but they don't look like me, so I know who they are, and we can point them out. Super easy. Super easy. We can deal with that, no problem. So this idea of race, and I mean, yes, there are people from different places of the world. There are people who have been raised differently and has some different cultures and that sort of stuff. But race, like what does that even really mean? Have you ever thought about that? What does that even mean? I'm white. My race is white? What? Because look, I'm 41. 41 this year. And I've known a few white people in my time. I mean, yeah, I know that might seem a little hard to believe. I've known a few of them. I've known a few. And here's the thing that's really kind of interesting is that not all white people are the same. Uh, there's some who really disagree with me. And there's some, I mean, just ask anybody back in high school, who I really would disagree with them. And we got into some really fun arguments. There's some, you know what, I really enjoy hunting and fishing. There's some people who white people, who don't care about that at all. There's some white people who think that hunting is stupid and is cruel to animals, and then there's others who don't. So how are you going to group this whole group? You know what's really the same is all white people. You know what's really the same is all black people. You know what's really the same is all brown people. That's stupid, isn't it? That is just ridiculous. But it is needed to divide people. I mean, how much easier is it to divide whenever we can just see that person's different, that person's different? It makes it really easy. It makes it really easy. But there is this narrative. And then you see, like, even as I'm telling you these things, you're probably like, Jeff, you can't say that. That means that you're a racist. It doesn't mean that I'm a racist, but that is the narrative in which they are passing, right? So, you know, I want to encourage you, speak up. These things are stupid. And it's okay to say, you know what, that's stupid. Because the more that we don't push back on these ideas, the more they're just going to keep growing and they're going to take over. They almost have fully taken over. There's still some people like me who will say no, but mostly it's taken over. I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And it doesn't make any sort of sense. Here's the thing. They're trying to wipe all of history out, right? Any imperfections. If you have had any imperfections, that means you gone. We can't believe you, we can't trust you, we can't follow you. Boom, you're done. And so that's why, you know, this things of tearing down the statues and all that sort of stuff. And what it does then, right, it keeps us from learning from the past. That we could say, like, okay, you know what, Thomas Jefferson wrote this really amazing document that we could learn from. He also had slaves. Okay, he had slaves. That's bad. And that should never happen. So let's take that out. Let's learn from this document that he wrote. And let's figure out what we can do with that, right? And so then what you do is you take the best of people and then you learn from their mistakes and their faults. And you say, well, we don't want to do that. And so then you can compile what is the best of everybody and live to that, what is called ideal, right? Live to that ideal. But the problem with this common culture that is coming around us is that all of those ideals are pushed out as evil and crazy and bigoted. They should never exist, and these people should just be all wiped away. It is a blind eye to what they have achieved and what they have given us, and then also a blind eye to their own imperfections, right? You say, well, that person there, one time they spit on the sidewalk, and that's just insane. You can't do that. That is not for proper behavior. But me, oh no, I am so much better. But this is why also, right, because some of those imperfections are very glaring, and you say, well, how can you talk about them having problems? You got some serious issues of your own. No, here's the solution. The solution is that that I am a victim, right? I am a victim. I act this way because these other people, mainly the white, heterosexual, cisgender American males, have colonialized and have done these things, these evil things, and so that's why I act this way. So then it's not your fault, right? So then we can listen to you because you are the one who has been victimized. You have the truth for us to know. And these other people who made you a victim, we can't listen to them because they're stupid and they might make me a victim, and we don't want that. And so we start putting these things in those categories, right? These ideas and what happens in our society. These people we can listen to, these people we can't. And you have to be the victim in order to measure up, so that your faults aren't looked against, right? And so then it just reorders society and everything that we do, everything that we think. Man, yeah, there's a lot that comes out of that. And so what do we do with that, right? This is Christian worldview here. We are talking about these things of the world, and how do we look at this as Christians? Well, one, look, we know that people have faults. I mean, a lot of that cultural ideas comes from that people are basically good, right? People are basically good. So how do then people become bad? Because there's bad people, right? Surely, clearly. Well, those people became bad because these people, what they did to them, it made them to be bad, right? And but people are basically good. This is why you don't need God. People are basically good. And one of the problems for me with that is like, okay, so what point did that start? If people are basically good, let's trace this back. Who were the first people to treat somebody poorly? But even then, that doesn't fit into that category because people are basically good. So why would somebody treat somebody poorly when people are basically good? So then nobody should be treating anybody poorly because people are basically good. And at no point did anybody mess up that system and become the victimizer and create the victims, right? So automatically that should fall apart. But we know as Christians, we are not good. We are not good. I am not good, right? Paul talks to himself, I am the chief of sinners. And I mean, he was. He was. Not to make myself any better. I'll be right there with him. But, I mean, he was killing people for following Jesus. That's pretty bad. Pretty bad. And so we know, hey, look, we all have faults. I mean, in my personal reading, I'm reading through Abraham right now, the story of Abraham. Just read about he and the Abimelech, who was a king, and Abraham's wife, Sarah. Look, she was beautiful enough that kings just saw her and it's like, hey, she needs to come over here. And she was like 90 when that stuff was happening. That's pretty spectacular. But anyhow, so Abraham and Sarah, they go into this one land where you got Abimelech, and Abraham's like, hey, look, you got to tell them you're my sister because otherwise they're gonna harm me because you're so beautiful. They want you. And so that's what happened, right? The people saw Sarah, and so she gets taken to Abimelech, and then God talks to him in a dream, Abimelech, and is like, you're about to be ruined, bruh, because you don't touch this person. And thankfully Abimelech hadn't done anything yet and released her, all this stuff, right? The point is, here's Abraham pimped out his wife. We can try to put that in some better terms, but that's what it is, right? He pimped out his wife. That was the second time that happened. The first time was in Egypt. And here, that's what he did. Tell them that you're my sister so that I don't get killed. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means he knows that they're going to take her and then they're going to do the things that people do. That's not good. That's not good. But yet here was Abraham who believed God, and it was counted to him as righteousness. Here is Abraham, who from his seed, from Isaac, came the people of Israel, right? You had Isaac, and then Jacob. Jacob was renamed Israel, and his sons, and those were the 12 tribes. I mean, this is Abraham. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean that it gives me a reason to sin, that I can sin, but what it does is say, man, Abraham even had faults, and I have faults. That means I'm not disqualified from this thing, and I shouldn't give up. That I can strive, and that God can still use me while I'm working out those faults, right? Not giving us reason for the faults, but while I'm still working out the faults. So here we go. Romans 5, verse 8. But God proves his own love for us, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. So we have a culture that says, you know what? You're a sinner. You're an evil person. They won't use this word sin because then that tries, somehow legitimizes the Bible, whatever. You're an evil person. We can't listen to you. But here we have the gospel, right? What did God do for us? You're an evil person. I'm coming to save you. There's a drastic difference between those two, right? And which world do you want to live in? Do you want to live in a world that anytime you mess up, that you're automatically cast out, you cannot be trusted, you have to go out, be the marginalized now because you have earned it, right? Or do you want to be in that world where that I know that I am not a good person, but yet here comes God giving his son for us to die for us, and so that I could be forgiven, so that I can come to him and work out this sanctification, work those things out and become more like him, become more like Jesus, become more holy, and one day have this wonderful heaven to partake of, right? Why? Because of God's love for us. You want to talk about love? That is love. And so, here's the thing. A lot of that's going on in our society and culture is ridiculous, and it doesn't make any sense. It's not going to make any sense. You know why? Because it's sinful. And sinful behavior doesn't really make any sense ultimately, right? It all comes down to what I feel and what I want, not logic and reason. God is the creator of logic and reason, okay? Nothing more logical and reasonable than God in the Bible. So a lot of things going on in society doesn't make sense. You might not be able to say where you are, you might lose your job, but at least know, right? Don't fall for those tricks. Be strong, stand firm in the Word of God. And then other thing is like, look, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what color of skin you have, no matter what you have done in this life, God has given everything for you. Everything. All right, so no matter what culture says about you, no matter what society says, God says that you are worth it, that he died for you while you were in the midst of your sin. That is how much God loves you. Trust him, follow him, right? We are able to receive that grace whenever we lay down our lives to follow him. It's worth it. It's worth it. All right. That's what I got. I hope you liked it. Subscribe, like, or whatever other things I'm supposed to say at this point. But more than anything, Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you. The Lord be gracious to you. Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.